The time was January 1978. The Cold War was at its peak. A secret U.S. scientist flying over Alaska, carrying new sensor technology, suddenly crashed near the edge of the Soviet air defense zone in his small reconnaissance plane. The data the scientist possessed had the potential to allow the Soviet Union to completely blind the Western Air Force's radar systems. The Pentagon's verdict was clear. A rescue was impossible. This was a recovery extraction mission. The team, only one pilot, Major Carter Reese, tasked with flying a modified version of the USAF's most secret, high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft, the SR-71 Blackbird. The SR-71 had to cheat Soviet radar and land on a frozen estuary in Siberia to extract the scientist. Control sternly warned him, "Major Reese, you need to fly at 80,000 feet, but you must land at 0. If you are captured, the government will disavow all knowledge of you." Major Reese flew the modified SR-71 Blackbird. This aircraft was known for its espionage capabilities, but never for landing and taking off from unprepared surfaces. Above Siberia, the plane was traveling at over 3 times the speed of sound, but Reese now had to slow down. Soviet radar registered an unusual fast signature. They immediately scrambled MiG fighters. The EWO, electronic warfare officer, warned, "Major, they are locking onto us. 3 MiGs inbound. We have to dive and use the radar shadow." Reese executed a terrifying maneuver to evade the Soviet Air Force. He deliberately plunged the aircraft into the radar shadow of a high mountain range, causing him to completely vanish from the Soviet screens. The MiG pilots were confused and recalled. Now, Reese had to land his aircraft on a deserted frozen river estuary in Siberia, a place with no runway, only ice. Reese carefully brought his Blackbird down onto the frozen estuary. The landing was horrifying. Despite the low speed, the risk of skidding on the ice was immense. They successfully came to a stop. Reese and the EWO climbed out of the aircraft, immediately engulfed by the lethal Arctic cold. They had only 30 minutes to spare. The crash site was only 2 kilometers away from their plane, and they had to proceed on foot. They found the injured scientist, Dr. Harris, hidden beneath a broken rock formation. Dr. Harris was clutching the flash drive, which was secured inside a titanium container. Dr. Harris gasped, "The codes! Soviet soldiers are coming!" Just then, they heard the sound of trucks in the distance. Soviet ground forces were advancing towards them. Reese and the EWO grabbed the scientist and started running back towards the Blackbird. Soviet forces were now visible on the other side of the estuary. Reese knew that they would need high speed for takeoff, and that was nearly impossible on ice. The engine struggled. The Blackbird required a specific procedure to start. Due to the bitter cold, the engine struggled to ignite. The EWO yelled under extreme stress, "Major, engine number 1 won't start. We have to abort now." The Soviet trucks had reached the estuary. Soviet soldiers jumped out and began deploying anti-aircraft machine guns. Reese manually forced the engine to start. Engine number 1 roared to life. The Reese engaged full throttle. The Blackbird accelerated rapidly down the ice, and Soviet soldiers opened fire. Bullets struck the rear section of the aircraft. Just before the plane reached the end of the estuary, Reese pulled the nose up with full power. The Blackbird barely lifted into the air, its speed still dangerously low. Just then, a Soviet MiG returned. The MiG pilot had spotted the Blackbird and was ready to fire. Reese's last trick. Reese leveled the plane and activated the afterburners. The Blackbird's speed rapidly increased, and within seconds, it broke the sound barrier. The resulting sonic boom destabilized the Soviet MiG, causing the pilot to miss his firing window. Major Reese climbed the aircraft to the safe altitude of 80,000 feet and headed back towards Alaska. The codes were safe. Operation Ice Spectrum was a success. The USAF pilot, single-handedly, averted the greatest technical espionage disaster of the Cold War. This story became an epic tale of USAF solitary bravery, extreme technological dominance, and Siberian survival.